All right. Actually, I don't even remember what episode it is. I think this is episode 4 of the Keeping It Local podcast. I hate even calling it a podcast. I just like talking to people about businesses and how they started, especially people that I know that have grown these incredible, awesome, unbelievable businesses. So with me now is my former next door neighbor. I was alive before he was even born. I saw this young man come into the world, and he's doing so much now. One of the coolest, craziest businesses I've seen, and I wanted to get him on here and learn all about it. So, Jeff, take it away. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Awesome. Thanks for the introduction, John. And yeah, it's pretty cool to even see you guys doing such great work too, as a former neighbor of yours, you know. But yeah, so my name's Jeff Wibben. I'm a PGA professional. And I have a golf business called Golf Pro Delivered, which started about 7 years ago as a mobile coaching service for busy people that might not have time to go to the golf course or might just not have access to the golf course. So hence the name Golf Pro Delivered. Being one of my best friends, Nick Miller, we actually started the business together as assistant golf pros with the mobile concept and the mobile dream that like we could be like Uber for golf lessons, where we
That's
would
cool.
come with a mobile golf setup. And then in an hour, you know, you get a lesson on a Saturday right in your backyard without ever having to leave your kids or your family. So that was the idea. And it's transformed a lot from there. You know, the term like fail forward is probably one of our best slogans about just learning and adapting. And I'll sum it up in the beginning just with, I always tell people, or I joke with them, that if you want to know what not to do in business, just give me a call, because I've probably made every mistake, or at least a lot of them, enough to learn and shed a little bit of wisdom. But it's been a humbling journey, that's for sure. It's been really hard. It's been a long road, a lot of failure, but proud to say we're at a really good spot. And I love coming to work every day with my team.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you like, I follow your social media and I see what you're doing now, and I'm just like blown away. I'm in awe of everything. It's so wild. But I have an important question because you said fail forward. How many people told you that every one of your ideas or this whole concept, how many people said this was a bad idea? You can't do it. You shouldn't do it.
You know, it was funny. In the beginning, only a few, at least to my face. I found out later that a lot of people thought I was crazy, but didn't tell me to my face. So at least maybe that was helpful to feel less discouraged in the beginning, but ultimately it's fuel. I remember I even had, you know, people that were close to me tell me like, hey, I have nothing good to say about your business. This is an absolute like joke, more or less. And it fueled me so much to the point where I would literally just, I'd be like, watch me, you know, and I would just work 20-hour days and walk around. And even my brother, Steve, we would like walk around every neighborhood we could, pass out flyers, found out that was illegal. So we stopped doing that, got in trouble doing that. And so, you know, just learn it and just keep on going. And I got actually to the point where I was trying to raise money. You know, we did like a local friends and family round, and then I
Mhm.
was trying to raise like bigger money. And I pitched so many investors. Every single one told me no. And I was
Wow.
like, I'm spending so much time trying to get people to believe in me. I believe in myself. Let me just go get it. And so I was like, let me just go get sales. And that's what I did. And I focused on just doing it as much as I could. And I'm so grateful for the few people in the beginning that did invest some with me and helped me get going. Still so grateful and thankful for them to this day. But ultimately I just had to get out there and do it. I had to stop waiting and just start, you know.
That's pretty wild. The fact that I love the fact that number one, every investor told you no. And you had people telling you this wasn't going to work, and you used it to motivate you. And
Mm.
what I don't know, I think for a lot of people, once the investors said no, I think for a lot of people that would be the end point for them, where it was like, nope, I'm done. Like I can't keep going with this. And you kept going, which is, I mean, did was it motivation or was it just like a strategy shift where you like, all right, you know what, let me just go get sales and prove the concept and then I could come back here later? Or do you no longer have the need for investors, or what's the deal with that?
Yeah, well, it definitely didn't have the need because I needed the money so badly. So I think it was just such a deep down belief that I really thought I had a good idea, and I knew it could work. I think I just didn't know how to make it work, and I didn't have the connections, and I didn't have the money to make it work. But what I did have was social media and just almost blissfully ignorant positivity to just keep on going. I also had, it's a huge asset to have a family that loves you and cares about you and supports you and says, Jeff, I don't know what you're doing. It might be crazy, but at the end of the day, you can sleep here, And so I have a lot more, I think, respect for anyone who's out there who like is in their car or like on the street hustling with no family to like those are like in my mind like the true entrepreneurial heroes. I have the cushion of a family that loves me, but yeah, no, I just wanted to just go after it, and I realized I think the biggest thing was like you don't need all the pieces to get started. You can really start with almost nothing. You have social media, tell your story, tell people about your product, offer pre-sale, say, hey, I'll give you 50% off if you're willing to give this a try. It'll be ready in 3 months. And if it doesn't work, don't worry, I'll give you all your money back. Or like something to just get the ball rolling, because it's never going to be perfect. And you know this, you're an entrepreneur. Like if you wait till it's perfect to get started, you'll never start. And
Mm-hmm.
I realized that, and I was like, screw it, let's go. And it wasn't perfect. It was messy. It was rocky, but it got better every single day. And, now we're 7 years in.
Which
So
is how you figure out how it works, right? You got to figure out where the holes are and plug them and then move forward. Because I just remember, I mean, I have something to say and then I'll ask you a question. I just remember walking by the house because again, we were next door neighbors. And I just remember walking by the house. You got the pod set up outside. You're giving golf lessons, like
yeah,
you're hitting balls. I'm like, this is awesome. Like in my mind, I'm like, this is the coolest friggin' thing. I love this. But I have that just mentality of like, I love when people take these risks and do these things and go after it. Now, did you find that you had to surround yourself with different people or and outside of your family, obviously, but did you find that you had to find people of a similar mindset to keep going and to like kind of build your plan here?
definitely. Well, I think I really try to learn from every single person. And those that are closest to me, like on my board, know that sometimes I'm a little thick-headed, and I'm so determined that like I almost have to get out of my own way and just listen a little bit more. But I truly believe that you really can learn something from every single person. So I I think just taking that humble approach of like, hey, I don't care who I'm talking to, even if I completely disagree, or I think 9 out of 10 things I'm hearing are what I would consider like wrong. There's going to be something someone can teach me every single time, and I've just really tried to be keen and listen to that, because if I didn't, I mean, I would still be doing things the exact same way I was 7 years ago. And I had to pivot. I mean, COVID also threw a huge monkey wrench into that. You probably saw some of those, we'll call them the pods or the inflatables during that time. And that
Mm-hmm.
was really the shift in my business where it was change or die. And it was that case for so many people. But for us, that's really when things totally flipped.
So how did it change your bit? Like, is that what led you into what you're doing now? Or like, how did that shift come about to the lessons and now to installing these incredibly intricate, crazy, awesome simulators that you have going?
Yeah, thanks, man. Like I was saying earlier, going back to that, it started as just mobile one-on-one lessons, and then the big pivot came just before COVID, a couple of years where some companies said, "Hey, we know you do like mobile golf stuff. Can you do corporate events?" And we realized, oh my God, like this is way more scalable, way more lucrative to do an event for 50 corporate clients versus a one-on-one golf lesson. Same amount of work, but 20 times the amount of
Mm-hmm.
value, I guess. So
Mm-hmm.
that was a big change. We built that business up for a few years. And then in 2020, when we finally got our legs under us just a little bit, where we're like, all right, we can finally pay ourselves. It's year 3 or year 4, like we're finally good. The world shuts down, and every single event that we had booked for 2020, we refunded like
Oh,
overnight.
oh,
Because I didn't feel right about holding that money.
yeah.
And so we went from feeling confident to, at that time, my business partner that I founded the company with, he had just left a couple of years prior. So I was on my own at that point. That was probably the hardest year of my life. I mean, this, my dad passed away 2 months before COVID. I got out of a really long-term relationship like 2 months before that. So it was huge life change happening all at once. And then I literally went from doing that to like delivering groceries trying to coach in my driveway, just trying to figure out how to stay alive. And one of my best friends now, his name's Frank Gargano. He has his own golf company called Shot Shaver Golf. He was doing golf sim installs in people's homes. And I was like, oh, dude, I know sim builds really well. We started to team up. This kid's incredible. And he's taught me a lot. And we just started collaborating, and we both got into that business. And from there, that's where things really took off. We both realized, like, hey, this is a great opportunity. Let's do these home installs. And people were pulling a lot of money out of the stock market and things like that and reinvesting into their home. So with that, they're looking for golf sims. I happen to now do golf sims. And I did the first few at cost or less to learn how to do it, because there's no school for this.
Right.
You know, so I went from a PGA Pro to doing golf sim installs. And
like tech and construction, like
yeah. And so the first few were really rocky, but learning, like you said, from every single person I could, every AV guy, every contractor. You know, you're standing in a room and you're the golf sim expert, and they're all saying, all right, Jeff, what LVL beams do I need? And how much structural do I need here? And I'm like, I'll get back to you.
Let me find out.
Yeah. So, I mean, now we're at the level where we can talk to anybody about any topic. But that was really the shift. And the big light bulb went off. We said, hey, we're used to building golf sims in 2 hours. I know if you give me 6 weeks, I can build you a pretty awesome golf sim. So that was really the biggest turning point. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, and it's funny too, because we really don't talk about real estate on here, but it makes sense because at that point, you're talking about people who were either stuck in their homes, or if you were thinking about moving, there was still no inventory. So we got flushed with low interest rates. And now people are still sitting on that equity with high interest rates where they don't want to move. So it makes sense where it's like, all right, if I'm going to stay in my house forever, you're probably, I mean, I know in my own house, I'm sitting on like $200,000, $300,000 worth of equity, and I haven't done anything. It's just the market went crazy. So with people sitting on this much equity and looking to do stuff in their house, you have this ability to do something amazing, like in your basement or in your garage, and convert it into something like this that you could use forever, theoretically. And I mean, it's just the coolest thing in the world. Like, I wish I could do this. Maybe one day, maybe business will be good enough and I will be calling you. Yeah, I know a guy. He's got like, but to me, it's the coolest thing. It's like, I don't know if I would ever leave my house. I'd just stay in the house all day and just hit the golf sim. I wore my golf shirt for this. I'm like the all the gear, no idea guy,
And you wore black and white, which is our colors.
Oh, nice. Perfect. Okay. I'm colorblind, so I didn't plan that.
I'm actually color deficient, so we're doing great. Green and
perfect.
red. So Christmas time is rough for me.
Oh man, it's pretty much like all of them for me, honestly. Like, it's just it's a loss.
I
don't know. But I mean, I'm so impressed with where you've gone with this. Like, you literally started from doing mobile lessons, but it seems like every time something happened, you saw where you should go and just pivoted and made it happen, and then grew and grew and grew. Whereas, again, a lot of people, I feel like they have a mindset, and you said you're stubborn. So for you to be able to just pivot and keep moving and grow your business and make it better and better to the point now where you're doing like installs in some of the most sought after neighborhoods on Long Island, like some of the most expensive real estate around, is a testament to what you need and you are willing to do it and just make it happen, which I feel like a lot of people, again, they get stuck in their ways. They feel like it's got to be done a certain way, and that would crush them at that point. They wouldn't know what to do.
Definitely. I know. Yeah. And I think like we were talking about, just having that determination and the belief in it is really the key. And I think also surrounding yourself with good people, because you can't do it on your own, especially if you're going to do a service business like this. There's been so many times where I've tried to do it all and you just burn out and you die, and you realize you're not the smartest person in the room. I really try to be the dumbest person in the room. And like on my installs, I used to do all of this stuff you see around me by myself or with like one other guy. I'd bring a friend in stuff. And then I would bring in people that were like really skilled, not at this, but at like other trades. And they learned this. And they're like, Jeff, why are you doing it like that? That's really dumb. Like, this is such a better way. I'm like, okay, like I don't need to be the smart guy. Like I brought you in for a reason. Let you go run wild and I'll get out of your way. And that's really how we do things now. Like all my guys are now way better at this than I ever was. And that's what I love. Like I don't need to be the best at this. I know they're better. And so if I'm the dumbest guy in the room, I'm doing the right thing. And that's been a huge help.
What a mindset. But at the same time, it's like it sounds like you've built it from the ground up. You've done it at every level, and now you're ready to be at the point where you're controlling, you're moving the pieces, but you have other people who are going to make the installs happen and do that work, because honestly, you're probably better suited to be dealing with clients and figuring out where you're going to go and speaking with people and going to, like, that's probably more where you should be and be spending your time, as opposed to, putting up headers to get the golf install in. Like, your time is not probably well used there.
Yeah, well, there's just so many different components. And like, I mean, because you're in the real estate business, but like construction is messy, it's dirty. There's so many moving parts. There's supply chain issues. So I think like one of the most important things about my business is having the backup office support to track all the items that are involved, to communicate well with customers. Like, probably like one of your best strengths is how well you communicate with people. That's always like something like easily can tell about you. That is a great skill.
Thank
But
you.
like you just know, like if you're talking to a customer and you just completely go dark on them, that's like so frustrating. They need your help. They want to talk to you.
Yep.
And I think just by being like really communicative, I always tell people like, or our employees, I'm always like, guys, over communicate. I want you to tell them to the minute exactly when you're going to show up at their house, who's going to be there. Because you never know, like, guys will just show up with a truck of guys and enter your house. It's like we don't operate like that. We show up, we're logoed guys. We always do what we say we're going to do. If we make a mistake, we own it. We're young guys. We're not trying to, pull the wool over anybody's head. We say, hey guys, sorry, we messed this up. We're going to eat the cost and we'll communicate. It'll take 2 more weeks, but this will be in. Like, taking that approach with every customer, I think has been how we've built up such a reputation. Now we're at the point where we have so much business coming in from referrals and things like that. We literally can't even keep up. We're hiring daily. We're looking for more people. We have like 25 jobs in queue at all times. Like it's really been incredible. Like, all by the grace of God. I have to be that guy that like points up. You'll even notice if you come to our office, like I literally have Bible verses on the wall, because there was a point in time, like to where we are now, I was literally on the side of the road, like hands in my face, can't even pump gas, have no money, broke, $100,000 in debt, credit cards maxed out, credit score went down to 400 something. So just being really grateful for every day is like where we're at now. It's pretty cool. Things have been a lot more fun.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's good that it's more fun. I mean, yeah, it's tough. It's like you were at rock bottom, especially, you talked about your dad before. I miss your dad. I used to see him walking all the time. What a great guy. I was thinking about this before we jumped on. I was thinking about like the first time I met him. I forget how old I was when your parents moved there. I think I was 6 when they moved into the neighborhood. And I remember, your dad's a big, tall, athletic guy, and he comes outside and he's like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Dave Wibben." And like, super happy. And then all of a sudden he's like just dribbling a basketball, spinning it on his finger, like taking 3-pointers. And we're like, you're sitting there like, whoa, like this guy's so cool. Like, he's an awesome basketball player. He's spinning a ball, doing the shoulder things. We're like, wow. And yeah, he's just a great guy. Yeah, I know it's got to be tough. But yeah, he was honestly, he was just such a good person.
I promise I won't cry on your podcast.
Me neither.
I appreciate the work.
But yeah, I mean, look, you went through a lot in a period of time also where a lot of people's mental health was like that was right before people's mental health started going really downhill because of everything that happened with COVID. So like, you're talking about dark times, like that's an extremely dark time. And now, I mean, just the craziness of where it's gone is, and I just want to go back to what you were saying about communication, because I find that is the most important thing. And one of the things I learned early with real estate, and I actually learned it from the pool install company. So, we got a pool done in our backyard, and they use an app called Basecamp. I don't know if you ever heard of this.
No,
It's really cool. It's basically a project management app. And like it tells you what step is coming next, when they're coming, who's doing it. And then as it's completed, they upload the pictures that it was done. All the billing is done through there. Like, okay, your new invoice is this. Cause when you do a pool, you do it in stages and like you pay for each stage. But you know everything that's going to happen every single day. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is what I want for real estate. Because again, like even what you're doing, we're not going to talk about prices on here, but I see that's one of your installs back there. It's beautiful. It's probably not cheap. People are probably paying top dollar for it. And when you're paying that kind of money, you also want to receive incredible service. That's a huge part of it. And to give incredible service is just doing exactly what you said. It's communicating, it's being uniformed, it's having a plan, it's executing. If something goes wrong, which in construction, it happens, I want to say probably 99.9% of the time that there's an issue.
Every time.
Yeah. So those things are going to happen. And as long as you are upfront and communicating and telling people what's going on in any business, I feel like that's where you'll build that reputation as someone who is honorable. Even if you're terrible at the job, you at least, if they know that you are going to be fair and honest and treat them right and do right by them, they'll use you again or give you a chance because you're going to do the right thing. It's so important.
It's so true, man. It really is so true. I remember when I used to be a golf pro at Pebble Beach, and there was a guy who's he passed away now. His name was RJ Harper. And for anyone who's like a big Pebble Beach fan, if you've been there, you know who that is. He's like, they used to call him Mr. Pebble Beach. But he was like the most successful guy there, making an incredible living. And he started out washing golf carts like when he was like 20 or something. And he worked his way up to like basically not CEO, but president of or co-president of the organization or something. And he told us, he pulled all the pros aside. We're proud PGA pros at Pebble Beach. And he goes, hey guys, like, I want to tell you the secret to success around here. And he said, I thought he was going to say something like, yeah, be the best. And like, we're the pros and we got all the talent in the world and stuff. And he said, like, never lose your mindset for service and for care of people. He's like, remember that this is not about you. He's like, we are here to serve and be servants and do it with the most enthusiasm and passion and love for what we do that we can. Love on every single person as they come in the door. And it was just so cool to have this guy who I was so intimidated by to be like so humble. And I think that was such a cool thing that stuck with me too. That's always kind of like how I was raised. My parents like talk about my dad. My dad and mom were like that. They were like lead servants in the house and in the community. Like that's just the mindset. Mm-hmm. Also like back to like our faith, like that's also like our faith mindset to live like that. But yeah, that has really been huge, man. I can see you do the same thing. It's awesome the way you think about people.
Because it's, I mean, like I always say, I talk about it all the time. Like the assets that I'm dealing with, people's like, we're the nest egg team for a reason. Like it took us a while to really come up with the name we wanted, but nest egg team is like the nest egg is something I believe in because this is most people's retirement. This is where you're putting your money for the most part, especially if you live on Long Island, because it's expensive to live here. And the one thing that you could pretty much count on is the value of your house going up, regardless of what you do to it. So to me, I'm like so not an adventurous person when it comes to money. Like I don't like to gamble because I just feel like it's a lousy investment. Like I don't like it. I don't like I have no risk tolerance when it comes to money, like zero. So starting anything entrepreneurial is always like a tough thing for me because it's like, oh, I got to spend money. Oh my goodness. And I don't mind going to a restaurant and having a nice dinner and spending money there. But like when it comes to spending money and with the hope of a return, I'm very careful. So to me, it's like these folks, everybody who's bought a house has put money into something that they're expecting a return out of. And now they've tasked me, they've hired me to deal with the biggest asset and potentially the biggest return that they're ever going to see. And I have to manage that. And I have to make sure that I do everything in my power to make sure that that is done correctly and they get what they need to get out of that sale. And then same thing with buyers. Buyers to me, it's like, I'm always like, I'm so pragmatic. And that's like, some buyers want the emotional experience and like, give me hugs. I love my house. And I'm like, look, are we making a good investment? I don't know. Like, let me tell you what I think about this investment. I never said I don't know, but this is what you're looking at. Like we're buying with a strategy and this is our plan. That's how I go about it. And
Yeah.
again, it's a level of service. It's what you need to do.
Mhm.
And I feel like you're doing probably the same exact thing when you're doing an install. Like I know, just like with the 3D plans and everything, like you're probably doing a lot of upfront work before you ever set foot in that house to break open a wall.
Definitely. Well, because people have a lot of questions too, because there's so many different. Actually, you know what? I guess it would be very like relatable to the housing market of like, it would be, you know how I don't know if people ever ask you a simple question like this, John, but like, does anyone ever say like, oh, what should a house cost in Suffolk? It's like such a general question that could
Yeah.
have a million different answers. It's
Mm-hmm.
the same thing in the golf sim business of like, hey, what should a sim cost? Well, it's really a range from like $2,000 to $200,000. Like there's technically like no cap, technically, in
Right.
terms of basement, but and there's so many variables in between. But just keeping things simple and be like, what do you truly want and need? And I will help you get to that and give you three options. There's an A, B, and C version, and I'll help you with the pros and cons. I know you do the same thing with your houses, like helping people find what's right for them instead of you just being like, buy this now, like terrible sales strategy, you know? So
It's
yeah.
funny that you said A, B, and C also though, because that is when we're doing listings, when we deal with sellers, we have a 3-tiered commission structure, and we have the bronze, the silver, and the gold, and each level has everything before it, but it gives the person choice as to what you want to do, and like what we do at our lowest level is probably more than what an average person does at their highest level for even more commission, like the amount of marketing that we actually do. But then we scale it up because, hey, if you want that, if you want this gold package, like look at everything you're going to get. And, it's a couple percentage points difference, but it gives someone options. And then that also makes them feel like they're part of the process. And you're doing the same thing. You're making them feel a part of the process, because you're not walking in there and like, we're going to knock down this Fargan wall, we're going to knock down that Fargan wall, and we're going to put a sim right here, and it's going to be beautiful. See you later. Give me 200K.
I know. Yeah, and for the record, we've never done a sim for 200K, but it's technically possible. So that would be cool. If it does, I'll call you and I'll buy a house. But
Yeah. Hey, listen, if I just want to go play on it, honestly, first, like,
it's so cool though. But what's I think one of the most fun things about it recently is you can do a golf sim like / movie theater all in one. So a lot more people are using these in their homes as that. Like it's really a multifunctional space. You can even play multiple sports on it. You can use it as a shooting simulator if you're into that. You can do like soccer, baseball, hockey, football for the kids, and you can watch movies on a 20-foot screen. It's so insane.
it
So
has so many purposes, and I feel like it's just like you got in at such a good time. I feel like people are going to just be doing this more and more.
yeah, it really is kind of magical in that
Yeah.
way. I'm very, very blessed to be in this space right now. I know.
Well, listen, no matter what, you're the person who ultimately made it all happen. So congrats to you. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you're a busy man, so I appreciate you coming on here and talking a little old me, because you are like big time.
Not at all.
But tell me, Jeff, give me the rundown. Where can everybody find you? What's the easiest way to get in touch with you? All that good stuff when they're ready to put their sims in.
Yeah, thanks, bro. A lot of people find us on Instagram. So at Golf GPD, you'll find us on Instagram. We're very responsive daily if you want to talk to us or ask us questions or you want to see a lot of inspiration. You can also go to our website at www.golfgpd.com. Or you can call us. Our office is available Monday through Friday, 516-472-7293.
All right. Awesome. Jeff, thanks for coming on. Again, Jeff Wibben, Golf Pro Delivered. Go, like, if you're getting a golf sim, this is the guy to call. Like, I feel like if you're getting a golf sim in the country at this point, like I've seen you guys, you've driven to Vegas. Like,
I know. Yeah, we've worked in over 20 states now.
That's insane.
It's wild. I give my team a lot of credit. I know you're throwing credit my way, but I can't do it without my team. They're on the road like crazy. And especially thank you to their girlfriends and spouses and even some of their kids that are okay and don't hate me for sending their family on the road. It's such a team effort. So just like it is with you guys.
Well,
So,
you know what, Jeff, I'm sure that if they're working for you, you're treating them right, and that's why they're okay with it.
yeah, man. I try my best. It's
Uh,
not always easy, but I try.
I'm sure, but listen, I'm sure you're doing it. I know you're doing a great job, and I'm sure they're very happy to work for you. And I think having a happy employee is probably the biggest testament to what kind of business you're running.
Thanks, brother. I
Yeah.
know.
All right, dude. Listen, you get after it. I know you probably got 20 other calls. And thanks for jumping on, and we will talk soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me, John. Hopefully I call you soon to buy a house, because
Yeah.
we should talk later, because my wife and I are looking in the future to get a house. So we
Okay.
have one, but we're looking for our forever home.
I gotcha.
That can fit a golf sim. So
You have to have a golf sim. Like you have to.
Yeah, talk about your A, B, and C level. Like that's like my A. So, but yeah, John, thank you, and congrats on all the success for you guys on your end. And I look forward to seeing you guys keep on growing from here.
Thanks, Jeff. Same to you.
All right, brother. Have a great night, John.
You too.
Peace.